Hi, I'm Ed from Co-operatives UK, and this video is about the journey from conflict to cooperation. Now, we know conflict all personally. We could go back to the school playgrounds, some of us, to think about conflict. But in an organizational setting, conflict gets in the way. You want people to work together in a teams, to communicate, and to have a common purpose. Conflict is not something we find easy. Many of us will run away from conflict, or we will change the subject, or try and diffuse conflict, perhaps through comedy. And many a comedian who say that they learnt their craft in the school playground trying to diffuse the bully. Conflict will also often lead to confrontation, and then from that on to violence or to power clashes. And this video is around a different outcome from confrontation, recognizing that there is space for assertive confrontation to lead through to negotiation and to common goals, shared goals, rather than to violence. In an organizational setting, conflict comes for many reasons. It can come where there's competition over resources or over power or sometimes over values as well. Conflict can come through emotion when we have insecurity or fears. Conflict can come through poor communication or through poor process, and that's where organizations can really make things different. Conflict can also come simply through difference, through maybe cultural difference, maybe personal difference, maybe gender difference as well. And we've developed some tools in the cooperative sector which try and give models or styles for how people tend to behave in the context of conflict. And these 5 styles relate to different points in terms of relationships, from individual to collaborative relationships, and to goals, individual goals through to shared goals. The first is competitive, and that's where we focus entirely on achieving our own ends at the expense of relations with others. The approach is aggressive and uncooperative, but equally in some extreme situations it may be called for to protect, for example, the vulnerable. The second is accommodating, and that's where we believe that good relationships with others are more important than our own needs. You could describe that as unassertive or powerless, but you could also describe it as selfless and focusing on your own responsibilities more than your own rights. The third is avoidance, when we are neither achieving our own goals nor are we building good relationships. It's a passive approach, but could also be described at times as tactical withdrawal. The fourth is compromising, when we find ways in which we can achieve our own goals without confrontation, splitting the difference, taking turns, the like. And the fifth is cooperating, and that's where we are working together with the other party, investigating ways in which both can win. We can both achieve our goals at the same time as building good relationships. It is the work towards the win-win solutions or outcomes. Now, the different personal tools that can support a shift towards cooperation include, obviously, the emotional skills of empathy and of listening, but also the emotional confidence around assertiveness. I tend to find that in the best cooperative cultures, there's a real honesty at work where people are able to give criticism and feedback in an assertive way, being specific about the issue and the context or the implications and where there are opportunities for improvement and what those might be, but equally assertive in receiving feedback as well, in being open and clear about understanding how improvement can come forward and what others can do to support you on that. So those skills around emotion. Others can also support where conflict comes up, support from the side, listening, sometimes reframing what people are saying so that you're paying respect to the point and the motivation they are bringing, but couching it in ways that is more likely to lead to a constructive outcome. Or, of course, mediation as well is always an option. That's the personal level. In terms of organizational process, we've all been, I'm sure, in meetings where everybody is shouting to have a say. It's like a chimpanzee tea party, and that is not good meetings, and it's not a good organizational process. So there's so much work and resources around good meetings and around how to encourage participation. I do like the method of David Netararis. He says it's the HALT method. Never make a decision when you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. But using the principles of good meeting as well as a basis for decision making within the organization, I see an increasing number of cooperatives, like, for example, Outlandish, Digital Cooperative, using circles, sociocracy it's sometimes called for the technocrats, but essentially the principle of a circle, same as the principle of circle time in a school, where people are equal and they will participate and listen, bringing all of their resources and difference to bear, and then has consensus around decision making. The same with the use of software tools like Lumio, a wonderful tool for consensus decision making, developed by a cooperative in New Zealand. And many of these are designed to operate within a cooperative culture of distributed leadership, where everybody is involved. And the criticism sometimes of cooperative cultures is, well, it just takes too long. You just got to get on with things. And that, of course, may be true. It may take longer to carry everyone with you. But the advantage of that participative form of decision making is that it's then much easier to implement plans. The corporate model is one where the boss decides and then tells other people to implement it. And we know that strategies fail not because of design so much, but because how they're carried out and whether they're carried out. If people have been involved in the decision, they can understand the motivation, the rationale. They can be quicker to change course, quicker to understand the risks as well. A very good example of a mouthy, energetic, dynamic, cooperative business is the Yorkshire Whole Foods distributor, Suma Whole Foods. It's a wonderful place to visit, full of noise, full of characters. They recruit members right throughout the year, and they don't recruit people to a job description of tasks. They recruit people in relation to character and the values that they are looking for. And it's not for everybody. As one SUMA member said to me, in terms of recruitment, I'd rather tame a tiger than wake up a sleeping sheep. And they bring people in, they see how they work together in groups, and they may be working in the business for 3 months as an employee before the choice is made as to whether to go for membership, for involvement in that way. And it's a flat structure. It is an equal pay business, the largest equal pay employer in Europe. And they bring those values of equality to the form of organization. So they have a management committee, of course, where the people are elected too. But one of the sayings is that management is a function and not a status. It needs to be done within an organization, but it shouldn't necessarily be put over other skills and over other people. And with that, SUMA has got a return on equity to die for, return on the financial returns that are better than John Lewis. And it's an extraordinarily and innovative place to work. So that's one example, and some of the tools that we use in the cooperative sector for marking that journey and that shift from conflict to cooperation, from using the tension and the difference, but also principles of respect and equality and openness to form cultures that are extraordinarily effective. I don't believe that every business should be a cooperative, but I do believe that every business can benefit by being more cooperative. And ultimately, when we are looking at that journey from conflict to cooperation, I like the saying of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, which reminds us that it's not about task and role and structure and process that is most important. It's really about values and about motivation and about purpose and about vision, what people want to do together. And any organisation based on shared values, as cooperatives are, can be an extraordinary place to work and an extraordinary force for good.